Hello, I thought I would show you how to make a dashboard for yourself. So this is part one of a new series where I'm going to show you how to make something like this. So this is my reporting backend for the QCAM Presenter website. And basically I decided I had to think about what my most important stuff was. I'm showing you the real numbers because I think it's clearer to understand what we're dealing with. So, you know, judge me or don't judge me, but like this is where I'm at. So revenue is sort of the first thing I'm looking at, and then average daily users. So a little drop, a little increase, like as long as one of those things is going up, I'm happy, right? And then, so that's the sort of most important things. And then if you're doing any experiments, you know, I'm doing some experiments on the front page, just trying out some different copy. So I'm sort of like tracking, this is a very, very low bar chart. Like if one of these was sort of like here, then we'd be happy, but they're all kind of down at the same level, not looking very good. But I've got like loads of different experiments to try, but we won't get into that today. But this is like, okay, what do I want to see when I land? I want to see just all that revenue stuff. And then we scroll down and we see the sales funnel. Look, I'm actually doing a sales funnel. So we're sort of coming through from awareness all the way down to sort of like active interest, down to like they've downloaded something, down to like they've paid for something, down to like they're using something, and then finally like are they advocating for something. And I think like I'm sort of like different areas of this in my one are sort of fleshed out to different degrees, but we'll talk about why in a minute as well. So and then stuff like this. So you see here, like awareness is like, okay, App Store, lots of people are seeing it in the App Store, not necessarily downloading it. And then lots of, you know, the other App Store things. And then I've got the website, QCAM website, Shoot YouTube channel, QCAM YouTube channel. I know how many people are seeing that. And then like I know my mailing list, and this is my dev server, so this isn't correct. It's because I haven't synced that database. But the mailing list is there, and then my Discord server, and then my Shoot YouTube subscribers, QCAM YouTube subscribers, all those different things, sort of like just showing them. And then downloads, I know like how many people downloaded from my website, how many people downloaded in the App Store, the different things. So we're consolidating a lot of data from a lot of different sources. So, you know, this is coming from my own website. This is coming from the Discord API. These are coming from the YouTube SDK, the YouTube APIs. These are coming from like Apple's APIs, and, you know, all different places. But we've got it in a nice, clean presentation. And then some stuff here, you'll see some disclosure things. So here, for example, I was like, okay, I see how many downloads, but what campaigns did they come from? What got them into it? So then I've got like a breakdown here of like who you know, who downloaded it, where were they coming from when they downloaded it? So, and little bar charts by month. So just it's just like you can see it's simple, but it's the information that I want. And so I want to help you make something that's the information that you want. So I am going to, do you know what? I think we are having, yeah, so in this series, I'm going to show you how to make your own version of this dashboard using Phoenix Live View, because I believe this is the best tool for the job. And, you know, I think like a dashboard like this can be a standalone service. If you're, you know, even if everything else is running on other technologies, you know, your dashboard can just, you know, it can be its own application. For me, it's like built into my web application, and I like it that way. But, you know, you don't have to like move everything over just to make your dashboard this. The whole point is the dashboard is reaching out to a million different places to populate its data. So what are those data sources? We're going to be coming from Google Analytics, we're going to come from Stripe, and we're going to come from Apple. It's a tricky one, so getting the usage data and also the like the transactions and all, you know, all the sales and all that kind of stuff. We're going to connect to, you know, your own servers, like I have some different servers that I connect to, and then other ad hoc services. So if you want to like cross-reference with the weather, you might, that's a useful thing to be able to do. And, you know, something to be aware of is that like a dashboard like this is a living document. Sometimes the experiments, that's the Coda API not working. It's a living document, so for every fact it reveals, it's going to create new questions. And so that's why we have these, I've progressively added little disclosure things. Okay, what's the top app? What's the top in-app purchase? Each time you look at it, you kind of go, oh, that's an interesting number. And you want to kind of drill into each number. And so if you don't treat it as kind of a living, interactive, evolving a piece of document, then it is going to start stagnating, and you're going to stop looking at it. You're going to stop learning things from it. So that's why I think it's better to have full control over this and make it yourself, rather than rely on third-party services that just basically answer. They answer some questions, but mostly they're not answering your questions. They're answering the questions that they know stuff about. So if you look at Apple's backend, if you look at Stripe's backend, if you look at Google Analytics, these are all kind of different dashboards that give you different views. But I think it's really important to come into this from what do I want to know, rather than, oh, what's this dashboard giving me? And you instantly get distracted, and it's a lot of information to kind of process, and you just want something really simple like this that's just giving you that key information. So this is a technical tutorial. This is going to be a technical guide. So if you're scared of the command line, then maybe this might be a bit much. But I am going to show you all I think setting up the environment is the hardest part, right? Getting yourself like a sandbox that you can play in and start working with, in some ways, is the biggest hurdle. So if you can get through this video, get like a website on your screen, then I think we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's start by setting up the project. So what we're going to do is we're going to install Phoenix via ASDF. So I'm going to assume you're on a Mac. If you're not on a Mac, sorry, it's just. You can do this, you can still do this, it's just I'm not the person to tell you how to do it. I've been using Apple stuff for 20 years in my professional development career. I had sort of used Linux stuff, I worked on Ubuntu, I've done this stuff, but I'm going to show you Mac-based stuff, but if you're on Linux, then you're going to know your package managers, you're going to know which one is good for you. But for today, I'm going to show you a Mac-oriented thing, but just bear in mind you don't have to be on a Mac to do this at all. But I'm just going to show you Mac screenshots and Mac videos. So what do we need? We start off by installing ASDF, and then we're going to stick the Erlang plugin, and we're going to stick the Elixir plugin. So Erlang is the runtime. And it's a very cool runtime, and it enables a sort of different approach to developing a website. And it's just this sort of decades-old kind of systems infrastructure thing that that all the mobile networks run on or have run on. I think I first heard about it is because WhatsApp were using. And it just basically, it's really frictionless to spin up millions of processes. So each user gets their own process, and all the inter-process communication stuff is really simple and baked in, and it's really a core part of that runtime. And then Elixir is sort of like a Ruby-esque but functional programming language. So it's sort of like the best of Ruby and the best of functional programming, and it lives on this runtime, which just enables an awful lot of stuff. And I just really love working with it, and I think if you have a look, you're gonna enjoy it too. So here's the brew install command. So we sort of wait for that to go. It's going to do all its stuff, and I'm just going to show you that. And then once that's in, we can install the plugins. So we're going to add that Erlang plugin, and we're going to add that Elixir plugin. So not much, didn't do much, but now we're going to actually install those language. I shouldn't say plugins, but install the languages. So we're going to put in the latest Erlang version and the latest Elixir version. And just bear in mind, I shot a little video of this on, to show it working. So I'll just let that run. But if you do have any issues, then, because I think that latest Erlang didn't work, but the latest Elixir did, and then you've just got to make sure the runtime matches the thing. But basically, my advice is if you have any issues, just work with the robot, work with ChatGPT, work with whatever Claude, your robot of choice is, just to sort of resolve any issues. I mean, you can actually searching for error messages is pretty good, but I would just work with your robot to just make sure that these are working. And then once they are working, I'll kind of show you how to check that it worked. So to check that it worked, we're just going to type mix, right? And mix is the Phoenix thing, is the Elixir thing, right? That just runs tasks and stuff. And then IEX is the the little interactive shell that you can use. So here I'm just putting some stuff in. I've put some errors, but like this is just me checking that it's working. We can put hello world. There we go. Right. So check that it worked with, yeah, so as I say, it's just check that mix works and that IEX works, and then you kind of know you're good to go. If those things don't work, then you can't get any further. It's going to be stuff like Xcode command line tools aren't installed. It's going to be stuff like you need some other like packages in Homebrew, like OpenSSL and stuff. That might be the thing. Just keep like, and just make sure that the right version is selected. But you basically work with the robot, figure it out. There's tutorials out there. But once it's working, you'll have that IEX and mix command available. And now we're going to install Phoenix. So Phoenix is the web framework. This is the Rails to Elixir's Ruby, right? Like, so this is the web framework that sits on top of everything, which we install with mix archive.install hex phx.new, and then to see if that works, mix help phx.new. So I'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to put in that command, mix archive install hex phx new. So this is the create a new project command, and you see like that comes through really quickly. And to check that it works, mix help phx.new, and there it is, right? We see some information about what to do. So that's now we've got Phoenix. Now we've got everything we need. Well, nearly everything we need. So let's make a new project and jump into Visual Studio Code. So we make the project. So I just typed in that command, and I can see like I always like use this. I just type it in. So I'm going to go mixphoenix.new dashboard. So that's going to create a new project. Like after we confirm, in that folder, the dashboard is going to be the name of your project capitalized, as well as the the file structure. It's a good idea to get that name right up front, because it's a kind of a pain to change. It's a bit error prone if you want to change that later, as I have learned when I renamed QCam from BeatSheet to QCam. But yeah, once that's working, we can jump into Visual Studio Code and have a look. So here we are. I'm going to bring up the terminal, and we've got the project ready. I'm going to open the terminal, and first it does show you this when you set it up, but we're going to do the database. So Ecto is the database ORM. This is the thing that lets Phoenix connect to a database. So yeah, make sure you've got Postgres installed by default. You can do all options for all this stuff if you want to get advanced, but I would say just Postgres, make sure that's running on your system. And then all you have to do, mix Ecto create, and then mix phx.server. And we're good to go, and we have the website up and running. So this is what that looks like. Out the box, you get this nice landing page. And now I'm going to make a new live view. So Phoenix live views are how we're going to do this. So I'm going to make a folder called live, and I'm going to call that dashboard.live.ex. And then I'm just going to sort of like robot autocomplete some stuff. So that the important thing here is, it is going to get it wrong, but the important thing here is the module name. So as long as that's, I mean, it can be anything actually, but like get the module name right. But the sort of the important thing like here is this dashboard web live view thing. So as long as that's in, we're good to go. And then we've got like mount, and we've got render. So just sort of let the robot autocomplete that, and we'll go from there. And then I'm just going to come in here and change that first page to be a live view. So instead of get, it's going to be live, and then we're just going to pass it off to that module. So dashboard live. So it knows that we're in dashboard web, so you can just put dashboard live. It knows we're in dashboard web from there. Dashboard live. That's now a live view, and then when we open that, we get an error because the robot is stupid. But like once we've fixed that, we can put in what we actually want. So you see, this is super simple. Like this is just mount is just setting the page title. Really, sorry if you can hear a baby. It's really hard shooting these at home when there's a toddler. But I'm going to put that. This is not needed, but I'm just going to put a little bit of HTML in this render. This is a sigil with an H, which is HEEX, which you can look up that syntax. But this just lets us kind of put inline kind of HTML into these things. I think this is the way to go. So let's have a look what that looks like. Oh, but before we continue, I'll just show you what extensions I've got. So I've just got the Phoenix Framework extension, which is all right. I've actually got a fork of this. We can go into that another time, but that's why it's saying it wants me to update. And then Elixir LS, it's the popular one. So they're the main ones that I'm using. I never use Phoenix snippets, and I should probably uninstall it. So that's the first part. We're sort of getting the project off the ground. I'll put a bit of H2 class Tailwind stuff. But yeah, we've got a project that we can start working with now. So I shall just fast forward myself a little bit and show you. And you see, like, it's automatically going to reload the page. We can go make a change. It's automatically going to reload. All that stuff is super slick. Works really well. So you know, this is a really good platform, really comfortable to work on. And I mean, a dashboard scalability isn't necessarily the main concern, but like super scalable. Like, so if you can get the hang of making a simple website using Phoenix, then you're just set for scalability without all of that, all of the sort of third party, all of the sort of additional services that you end up having to spin up when you're using other platforms. It just lives in that beautiful Erlang runtime. So and then you can spin up additional servers and do all that kind of stuff. I use Fly for my hosting. We'll get into all that another time. So you can come find me at squares.tv/discord if you have questions, if you want to talk about this, if you have suggestions. This is kind of where I live. And then I'm just gonna, because this is on my QCam channel, I just want to also, one of the reasons I'm making this is because I want to show you how I make these things. So this is QCam Presenter, and this is the script that I just presented over here. Right, so you see, I made a title card, and this is my script is in the teleprompter. I share the browser window. I have bullet points that I can reveal one at a time. I kind of like bring in, you see here, I'm using this custom bullet point styling. So even if it was narrow, it'd be sort of like lined up on the left edge. And then I bring in these videos, and these videos, you know, I sort of like took footage of each of these steps, but then I'm able to like trim out the bits I want from those videos. So if you're like interested in coding tutorials and making those, then well, I'm trying to find one that I did more trimming, but you see, like I can split those videos and basically get, you know, sort of like save myself a lot of headaches that I might have if I was having to if I was having to like do all this real time, or like, but you see, I didn't have to edit anything, right? I just like kind of prepared my little clips in advance and then ran through them, and I'm able to like highlight stuff and react to it and move aside. So you can try QCam at qcam.app/download. So I hope you enjoyed that, and see you on the next one. Thank you, goodbye.